Toprak's fastest time so far this weekend, a 30.9.
Toprak Razgatlioglu, our most recent pole sitter here in Most, topped Superpole here in 2023 on the Yamaha, then last year on the BMW. Of course, 4 previous stagings of the Czech round at this venue. Jonathan Rea, the only other man to have sat on pole, 2 for him with Kawasaki in 2021 and 2022. But no doubt Toprak is the man with the past form here in Most. He exits the final turn to complete his first flying lap, and it's a 1 minute 30.989. So it's a good effort and in the ballpark from the fastest times in free practice this weekend. You watch Toprak Razgatlioglu at his favourite area of the circuit. It is the corner with the highest brake pressures of the season, and Toprak has made it his own here in Most.
For some reason, it suits Toprak.
I wonder why.
What's quite interesting for Toprak is the into turn 10, he's really strong as well. That's where we've seen him try different moves in the past just by throwing a bike down the inside of people. But he does a good job to be able to get the bike turned in that first sector, because that's where the Ducati is really strong. The big physical changes of direction in that section of the track, it's just a little bit more nimble on the Ducati compared to what you have on the likes of the BMW.
Danilo Petrucci gets underway with the first flying lap of his second stint here with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, and this is into that heavy braking zone in towards turn 1. You can see a few riders leaving the pits, and it's probably distracted Danilo a little bit there, and he's ran in a bit too hot into turn 1. So that's going to be this lap done, but he'll have the chance to be able to maybe use one of those other riders for a bit of a tow down the straight on his next flying lap, but he's not going to make an improvement now.
Toprak Razgatlioglu now making his way out onto the circuit with his teammate Michael van der Mark directly behind him on track, and it's van der Mark who needs to make some progress here. P15 at the moment, 1.1 seconds down on P1, so again, small margins right the way through the field.
And that's why van der Mark's behind Toprak as well. Usually you'll see it where the teammates will pair up with each other and one tow the other around for each of their laps. But BMW need Mikey to make that step forward from 15, so it looks like the decision's being made where Toprak's feeling comfortable and confident enough out there where he'll help Mikey on both of his flying laps.
Nicolo Bulliger, 4th on the grid here in Most last season. It's one of only 2 venues that he's visited in WorldSBK, but hasn't made the front row. He generally has been a strong qualifier. This is Axel Bassani's battered Bimotor being repaired as swiftly as possible. He sits in P10, so at the front of the 4th row of the grid as things stand. Of course, had a brilliant Superpole, didn't he, in Assen, putting out on the 2nd row. Remains to be seen whether the team can get that bike fixed and in shape in time for him to get out on track and at least try and get one more lap in at the end of this Superpole session, because there are riders behind him who might hope to leapfrog hit Bassani here. He is at risk of dropping further down the order. We're watching Danilo Petrucci, and what is the 2nd flying lap of this stint for him, but effectively becomes the first, and all of the good work of being the first rider out onto track was totally undone there. Petrucci now up and running.
Yeah, and Danilo now just giving himself a chance to be able to get through that first sector pretty cleanly. We'll see what his split is, and very competitive there up against Toprak's time.
Jonathan Rea on a good improved lap here. He's half a second down at the halfway mark with 2 sectors remaining. 14th position at present. I think top 10 is realistically probably the target for Jonathan Rea, who qualified all the way down in P17 in Cremona last time out. Had an average Superpole performance of only P10 last season. Never really got to grips with the Yamaha, and of course recovering from injury and only his 2nd round back from that foot injury. Jonathan Rea just coming through the final sector. He'll be the first of the big names to get to the line to complete their flying lap. We're of course once again watching Danilo Petrucci. Has had great visits to Most in the past. Jonathan Rea crossing the line, loses ground in that final sector, 1 minute 31.445 for Rea, so it's very similar to the first flying lap he put in the first stint.
Yeah, lost a bit of time in the first sector and then matched his times from the first stint, but still has time for another 2 laps here on this tyre.
Sorry, Steve. Garrett Gerloff on a great lap here, making his way through the final sector. Danilo Petrucci in front of him on track. Petrucci currently sits in P3, might challenge Nicolo Bulliger with this effort. He's close, but not quite close enough. But Garrett Gerloff up to P4. Barney Ducati celebrating the lap from Petrucci, but for Gerloff, that's fantastic, up onto the 2nd row of the grid. It's been a generally miserable campaign for him thus far this season, but he has always qualified between 5th and 8th in his 4 visits here to Most. Crossing line, Ika Lekawona will displace Gerloff down to 6th position. So your new grid with 1.5 minutes remaining. Razgatlioglu, Bulliger and Petrucci, Lekawona for Honda, Gardner and Gerloff, Locatelli, Alex Lowe's and Alvaro Bautista. Now Alex Lowe's, Alvaro Bautista and Sam Lowe's at the front of this group here, making their way to the line, all looking to improve. Alex Lowe's moves up into 4th position. Sam Lowe's, it's only 8th place for him, and he's now bumped back to 9th by Jari Montella, moving up into P7. New personal best effort from the two Aruba bikes. Nicolo Bulliger now less than 1/10 of a second away from Toprak Razgatlioglu. Still 1 minute till the checkered flag falls, and Alvaro Bautista's new personal best is only good enough for P10.
Yeah, for Bautista, needs to make that big step forward. The last lap of this session is going to be interesting to see what Bautista can do, what Sam Lowe's can do as well, and see if anyone else is able to make that step forward that they need. Van der Mark doesn't look like he's going to do it. Looks like he's going to qualify down there in that 5th row of the grid.
Alvaro Bautista with Andrea Locatelli for company at the moment, and Locatelli down in 11th place, hoping to climb from there. Big moment there from Alvaro Bautista. I think he might have even gone across the grass there as he tries to find some extra speed, and that's not going to be the way to do it. He's now 8/10 of a second down on this latest lap.
This is important right now. You can see Bulliger at the halfway stage. He's found a bit of time. Toprak's on course for a really good lap. Sam Lowe's trying to move up in the 3rd row of the grid. This 3rd sector important for him. He's very strong in that final sector in particular. Yesterday and this morning session, he was able to set the pace in those sectors.
Might be a bit of a problem for him in the final sector though, because as far as we've been advised, that Taz Mackenzie's gone down at the final turn, and so until that's cleared, that's going to mean a yellow flag. And the 14 bike's going to be the first to come into it now. The 11 of Bulliger behind him. So Bulliger's opportunity to improve and challenge Toprak Razgatlioglu is over. Locatelli just coming into that yellow flag zone. So this lap is not going to count for him, nor for Vickers. In fact, still the yellow flag is out there. So that's going to affect Toprak Razgatlioglu as well. So Bulliger and Razgatlioglu, Toprak with a super lap there. 1 minute 29.799 would be a new lap record, but it's going to be deleted for yellow flag infringement in the final sector.
It won't matter for Toprak though, because Bulliger will lose his time as well. Sam Lowe's will lose his time, and that'll be a case of all those riders just dropping those spots down. Toprak, there's a bit of frustration there for him. He doesn't realise that the other riders are going to be pinged for those yellow flags as well.
Yeah, Toprak's looking very, very frustrated, but Bulliger's lap, as you say, will equally be affected. So on their fastest and on their 2nd fastest lap, Toprak was ahead on both measures.
Yeah, half a second in this, and he was up by a few hundredths of a second as well. But 2 crashes for Taz Mackenzie in the session, and unfortunately for Taz, it's going to lead to him qualifying right down there at the back of the field. This is the incident for Mackenzie. You'd imagine it's going to be the same as what we saw yesterday, where riders just lose the front, and it'll end up being a pretty expensive crash for MIE Honda. And you can see for Taz there, a little bit of a roll, but hopefully he's okay. It was good to see that he was able just to walk away from it. This is going to be Toprak's frustration as he comes across the line.
He'll be a darn sight happier when they tell him he's still got pole. It was a fast lap from Toprak. That's probably why he'll be so disappointed that it's going to be deleted. Bad news, obviously, for the MIE bikes. They'll be starting at the back. Zaidi outside of the qualifying time, actually, in that session once again.
The big loser, and it's going to be Sam Lowe's going from the 2nd row of the grid, the front of the 2nd row of the grid to the back of the 3rd row.
Yeah, we'll wait for all of those times to be deleted and then see exactly where things stack up. Your memory is certainly better than mine, Steve. So we'll just give it a minute and then we'll give you the full rundown. But we know that your top 2 is going to be Toprak Razgatlioglu and Nicolo Bulliger, that's for sure.
Just to look at the big disappointments from the session as well, like Locatelli on the 4th row of the grid, and you're only 6/10 of a second off the pace, but those 6/10 of a second, they just correlate to so many spots on the grid. Remy Gardner put in a good lap at the end. We'll wait and see whether or not it was with the yellow flags. I think he might have got in just before the yellow flag came out for Taz.